I am 63 years old and won 50 million in the lottery. When I was holding the lottery ticket and was about to ask my son to claim the prize, I found that my daughter-in-law and my son were discussing changing their mother. My mother is too independent. She only knows how to revolve around her children every day. Yes, Aunt Wong has savings, and she lost her husband. Her son still has money. You see, my mother only knows how to cook at home every day. It would be great if Aunt Wong was our mother. I revolved around this family of three meals a day, washing clothes and cooking. Until my grandson was born, and then I took care of him during the confinement period, until my grandson is now in kindergarten. I quietly put the lottery ticket into my trouser pocket, and then went to get a wrong cancer report. I took the hospital report home. The old man, son, and daughter-in-law looked at each other, and finally my son came over and took my report to look at it. Cancer, this, it will cost a lot of money. The son blurted out, yes, if not, how can I divorce the old man and live a carefree life with 50 million? You talk about mom. She only knows how to hang around the kids every day, while Aunt Wong socializes every day, knows so many rich people, and has a pension. When I was holding the lottery ticket and planning to tell my son and his wife, I heard the voice of my daughter-in-law. This made my joy of winning the lottery shattered. Not to mention that my own son also spoke up. Yes, mom is too independent. You see, dad goes out to dance every day, and the old men and women he knows have connections here and there. Yes, Aunt Wong has savings, and she lost her husband. But her son still has money. You see, mom only knows how to cook at home every day. It would be great if Aunt Wong was our mom. The couple's words were like a slap in my face. Since my daughter-in-law got pregnant, I moved here to take care of the two of them, and I basically do all the housework at home. 3 meals a day, washing and cooking, until my grandson was born, and then taking care of him during the confinement period. Now that my grandson is in kindergarten, I have been around this family of three. But now I am being despised and said such chilling words that I just felt a surge of anger in my chest. Yesterday morning, I sent my grandson to school, and on the way back, I suddenly had an idea to buy a lottery ticket. I just remembered to check it, and I didn't expect to win 50 million. I couldn't restrain my joy, and walked out of the door in a few steps, ready to share this joy with the two of them, and let my son go to claim the prize. But I heard this. I silently put the lottery ticket into my trouser pocket. As if a basin of ice water was poured on my head. Before I retreated back to the house, my son's door opened. My son came out from inside, dressed neatly, and when he saw me, his steps suddenly stopped. Mom, perhaps he remembered what the two had just said, and his face was unnatural. Mom, what are you doing here? Just as I spoke, my daughter-in-law's voice came out. Mom, are you here to eavesdrop on us? The slightly harsh words made me feel at a loss. My daughter-in-law also came out. Mom, you heard it too. It's true that there is no pension, right? Don't keep talking about our dad going out to dance in the square. Isn't it just a social event? Lele wants to change to a better school, but we are looking for connections. I looked at my son expectantly, hoping that he would say a few words for me, but he nodded. Yes, Mom, you're too controlling. Aunt Wong has channels to change Lele's school. We also asked people for the school district house. Aunt Wong has connections. Let Dad help talk about this matter. Hearing this, my heart sank to the bottom. Recently, I found that the old man was very close to Wang Huizhi next door. And I was so angry that I quarreled with him several times. Originally, I thought that my son, who was raised by my daughter-in-law, would stand on my side. As a result, the two of them were talking behind my back, but I was not counted. When I found out, they confronted me and tried to persuade me. I was so angry that I felt dizzy and felt that the past 63 years were all a joke. Perhaps because I looked livid, my daughter-in-law added, Mom, I just said that I hope Aunt Wong is our mother. Don't mind that. It's just talk. It won't work if I say it, right? She poked her son with her hand. The son also nodded quickly. Yes, you are my mother, and this can't be changed. Okay, I'm going to work overtime at the company. I want to eat ribs tonight. Mom, I want to eat too." The two put on their coats and left in a hurry that I was left holding the lottery ticket in my pocket, feeling cold all over that I went back to the house and lay there for the whole morning in a daze, and the old man didn't come back that we used to live in the old city. When we were young, we saved money to buy a wedding house for our son. I didn't come to live here until my daughter-in-law got pregnant that I have worked so hard for half my life, and I have been busy all the time. It is a joke that I recalled the time when I stayed up all day and night to help take care of my grandson, and I thought about subsidizing the family of 3 with 3 meals a day. I used the money I saved before to find a way to subsidize their small home. The strong sadness engulfed me, until there was a noise at the door, and my husband who had gone out early came back. "Old woman, you didn't make lunch, I'm starving," the voice came from far away, and then the door was pushed open. Seeing me lying on the bed without saying a word, the old man was furious. "Aren't you at home? You don't cook." I got up and looked at that face, as if I woke up from the chaos all of a sudden. "What's wrong with you?" "I went out to play chess with someone today. I didn't dance square dance with anyone." The old man Lu Chendong looked alert and looked at me as if I was the unreasonable person. Before I could say anything, he started to talk again. "Don't bother Huishi. You are not ashamed." "But I am. You are so old, and you are still making trouble without knowing the truth. TSK, this family is really unbearable. Can you have a good face? You are stern all day long. Who owes you anything?" I didn't say a word, but he had already said all his thoughts. What embarrassed me the most was that he added at the end, "Look at you, Huishi next door is well-dressed and well-mannered. Why are you so old and still making trouble every day? I won't eat at home." He turned and walked out. There was a clang, and the door closed. I floated to the door like a wandering soul, and saw through the cat's eye that the two people had met outside the door. It was Lu Chendong and the so-called Wang Huishi. The two people's voices were not small. Wang Huishi spoke very considerately. "Didn't Brother Lu eat? Didn't you come out as soon as you got home? There is no cooking at home." "It's true. I am old and still in a bad mood." Lu Chendong's emotional words echoed in the corridor. Then Wang Huishi said, "Brother Lu, come to my house to eat. I cooked too much and can't finish it. How can I be embarrassed? Come on, come in," with the sound of another door closing. The two disappeared in the corridor and went to each other's house. I walked back and couldn't help laughing. It was too funny. My life was too funny. I laughed and cried again. I didn't expect that I would find out about this at this age. I sat in the room for a long time, then cleaned myself up and went to the lottery center with the lottery ticket. I found out that the lottery redemption period is 60 days. Thinking of those people at home, I was cautious and didn't redeem the prize. Then I went to the hospital for a full-body checkup. When I got home, I found that the house was particularly lively. My son and his wife, my grandson, Lu Chendong, and Wang Huishi and her son next door. They were having a great time, but when they saw me come in, they stopped talking, as if I was the one who disturbed their happiness. "Mom, where have you been? The meal is not cooked yet. Aunt Wang has to cook for her guests." As soon as I entered the room, my son started to speak in dissatisfaction. I paused. "I went to the hospital." After I said this, no one in the family asked me what I was doing in the hospital. Instead, Wang Huishi's son Wang Jun spoke. "Aunt, did you go to the hospital? I seem to see you at the lottery redemption center this afternoon." He looked at me inquiringly, full of scrutiny and probing. "It is said that someone won a jackpot of 50 million today but did not redeem the prize. Could that person be Aunt?" After he said this, everyone in the room instantly fixed their eyes on my face, looking at Wang Jun's pressing gaze. I suddenly smiled. "Dajuan, so you saw me?" "I did go there." Before I finished speaking, my son stood up with a short breath. "Mom, you won the prize. 50 million. My daughter-in-law followed closely, and both of them were about to stare at me. The old man Lu Chendong ran over. "Old woman, you won the prize. Then our family can move to a new house." He was so happy that he wanted to pick me up and spin me around like he did when he was young. I brushed away his hand that was pinching my arm, and my expression was inexplicable. "What are you talking about? I just passed by to join in the fun. How could I win 50 million? That I looked down at my clothes. If I win the prize, I can still come back. This made my son and daughter-in-law a little embarrassed because they had just quarreled in the morning. They sat down with embarrassed expressions, but they didn't dare to pursue it. Only Lu Chendong suddenly changed his face. You didn't win the prize. You made me happy for nothing. That face change became like a performance. Wang Huizhi on the sofa suddenly spoke up. Big sister is the same. When you go out for an afternoon, the family is worried. It's better to travel less when you are old, so that the family won't have to look for you again. This was like a signal. My son was the first to speak up. That's right, Mom, can't you just stay at home? Just cook 3 meals. Dad said that you didn't cook for lunch. Yes, Mom, we are so tired after work. If Aunt Wang hadn't helped us today, we wouldn't have had a meal. Women are hypocritical. At such an old age, you ran out without saying a word. Are you running away from home to show off to someone? We are not young girls anymore. This is my husband who I have slept with for most of my life. The son I gave birth to. The daughter-in-law I took care of, and the husband I served, all blamed me. I suddenly took out a hospital bill from my bag. I am sick. This made the 3 people who wanted to speak suddenly silent. The 3 of them looked at each other, and finally the son came over and took my list to look at it. Cancer. This, it will cost a lot of money. The son blurted out. Lu Chendong snatched the list, and when he saw the diagnosis on it, he trembled. Wife. In this situation, the mother and son of the Wang family over there couldn't stay any longer. So they left in a hurry. As soon as the people here left, the 3 of them started to speak bluntly. Mom, we are so old, you are sick, what should the family do? Yes, old woman, how much money will it cost to treat this? The child has just saved enough money to buy a house. Do you need to be hospitalized? Lu Chendong looked at me in embarrassment in the extremely reluctant eyes of the 3 people. I nodded slowly. Yes, the hospital asked me to go to the hospital immediately. After I said this, the faces of the 3 people changed. Oh. My life is really hard after getting married. I haven't enjoyed a day of happiness, and now there is a big hole to fill. The daughter-in-law's words sounded. The son opened his mouth without refutation, and his eyes moved away guiltily. Mom, at this time, the little grandson who had been silent broke the silence with a baby voice. Grandma, are you sick? I looked down at my grandson's tender face. Yes, Grandma is sick. Then Grandma treats the disease, and flies away in pain. Baby doesn't spend money, all for Grandma's treatment. In one sentence. I almost burst into tears that I didn't expect a little grandson who was only a few years old in the family to say this. The daughter-in-law over there covered his mouth when the grandson was about to continue talking and carried him into the room. I looked at the nervous father and son, and felt that all kinds of life were revealed at this moment. I said, I won't treat it anymore. The father and son were happy when I said that. But I said it, but they were embarrassed to agree. My son patted my shoulder. Mom, we have to treat it. You haven't enjoyed it. My voice was calm. The family still has to save money for Lele to marry a wife in the future, and you have to change houses, which will cost money. Mom won't treat it at this age. My son said it, but he couldn't say that I should continue to treat it. During this period, the old man Lu Chendong was even more like a quail. In the middle of the night, I went out to drink water, and the old man was sleeping on the sofa with a loud snoring. Yes, after knowing that I was sick, he was afraid and chose to sleep on the sofa. We are a young couple. In that era, marriage was early. I married him before I was old enough. We have been through so many ups and downs for so many years that I worked several jobs to earn money. When he was young, he had a serious illness and needed a kidney transplant. I had to take care of the family and him. I borrowed all the money I could from relatives and friends to earn money. After he was finally discharged from the hospital after the operation, I was exhausted. At that time, He told me that he would never let me be so tired again. That my son also pulled me with heartache and said that he would always be filial to me, but people's hearts will still change. When I took my kindness to them for granted, they would only ask for it from me. When I think about it, I have never lived for myself in all these years. That I was still reminiscing when I heard the sound of whispering from my son's room. That I was wearing cotton slippers, and my footsteps were silent, so the people inside could not hear anything at all, and we are all old people. So the door of the room is usually not locked, it is just slightly closed, and there is no movement when it opens and closes. So, I stood in front of my son's door, and neither of us knew. "Husband, what do you think of Mom's illness?" The daughter-in-law's voice sounded softly. "Speak softly, what if Mom hears it?" The son's scolding continued. "What are you afraid of? Didn't we say that we had a falling out this morning? The old woman didn't even cook lunch. And it's already this late, she's gone to bed early." After saying this, the son was silent for a long time. After all, I still have a glimmer of hope for the remaining flesh after 10 months of pregnancy, but I heard the child I gave birth to with great effort stab me in the face. I should have bought her an insurance when I was young. Aunt Wong has pension insurance. Alas, Mom has nothing now. How can she be treated? My eyes were red in the dark, not to mention, the voices of the two people behind me also came. Since Mom should not have gone for treatment yet, why not buy an insurance? I remember there is still a house in my hometown. Why not let Mom go back? You and your son send her back. It's so good to recuperate in the countryside. The air is good. Maybe she can live 2 more years. Not good. Dad definitely doesn't want to stay in the countryside, and Aunt Wong also wants to find a partner. This distance and the relationship will fade. Isn't it all in vain? I couldn't believe that my son said this. Didn't you hear what Wang Jun said? That house is for Aunt Wong to live in alone. He is busy with work and just wants his mother to have someone to rely on. Our father is a perfect match. The son was obviously moved, but he was also concerned. Dad probably won't agree. He told me before that he and Aunt Wong are just friends who roll together. The daughter-in-law sneered, and her voice was raised a few points. I saw your father come out of Aunt Wong's house in a disheveled state. Do you still think our father is a good man? You and your father are the same kind of people. Of course, you can't sleep in the same bed with 2 different people. I am not a good person either, so my mother is the only honest person in the family. Hey, so I am the only one who knows nothing about this family. The next day, my son and his family of 3 went out to play, and I was still at home. The old man didn't say he would take me to the hospital, and he didn't even ask. He had breakfast, wiped his mouth and said he was going out. After the door rang, there was a sound outside soon. He went to the next room again. That I remembered what my son and his wife said last night, about Wang Huiji's house. There are only 2 families on this floor. The house we bought for our son is a small one, with 2 bedrooms and a living room. It is very crowded. To this day, my grandson still sleeps with the couple, but the house next door is very big and spacious. That I found the agent I added many years ago on my phone. She was a young girl who ran around with me when I bought a house for my son. We often chatted over the years. She is still working in this industry now, so I asked her to check it for me. Sure enough, the house next door was not sold at all, but rented. The agent girl even helped me find the landlord's contact information. That I marked the note that I wanted to buy a house, and soon added the landlord. That I tentatively asked about the house next door, and the landlord offered to take me to see it. It turned out that Wang Huiji had rented it for many years, and the rent was shortchanged and often in arrears. The landlord wanted to rent the house to someone else, but Wang Huiji refused to move out and even went to the landlord's house to make trouble. The landlord was annoyed and thought it was better to have less trouble than more. The house was originally put up for sale, but no one bought it. Whenever someone came to see it, Wang Huiji would find someone to make trouble and scare them away. When the landlord heard that I was next door, he was very happy and wanted to come and take me to see it. When the landlord came, I went downstairs to meet him in person. During the period, I met many people who were on good terms with Wang Huizhi. The landlord smiled when she saw me and greeted me. Big sister, my house is absolutely worth it. It is spacious and bright. When the time comes, I can open up the first floor with yours and make it a flat floor. This immediately attracted several people. Aunt Lu was puzzled. One floor. Sister Zhou, isn't your floor only yours and Sister Wang's? I smiled and nodded. Yes, the landlord took over the conversation with a smile. Sister, you are talking about Wang Huizhi, right? I have rented this house to her for several years, and now there is a buyer who wants to go and take a look. This is too much that I in their eyes. Wang Huizhi lives alone in a big house, her son is promising, and the people she knows are all well known. But now she says the house is rented. A group of people followed us to the door and planned to follow us to take a look. When we arrived at the door, the landlord took out the key. There is no way, Sister Wang is often unreachable. When I came, I had called her several times, but no one answered. I guess she is not at home, so I took the key directly. However, when the door was opened, it didn't look like there was no one inside. 2 pairs of shoes were placed side by side at the door. And popular music sounded in the living room. The landlord took us inside and saw my old man holding Wang Huizhi dancing ballroom dance, and the two of them even changed into special clothes. The expression was particularly intoxicated when she saw us. Wang Huizhi screamed, quickly covered her super short skirt, and hid behind Lu Chendong. The people who followed her felt like they were going blind. Wang, Sister Wang, you. Lu Chendong was pulled by someone, and his squinting eyes opened, and he saw me standing not far away. Old woman. When he realized that he was wearing that torn costume, his expression suddenly became horrified. Me, I stepped forward and slapped him. Lu Chendong, I have cancer and you are cheating here. Who asked you to come? Lu Chendong came to his senses and took the initiative. The landlord seemed to understand. He looked at my pitiful appearance and took the initiative to speak. My eldest sister said she came to see the house for her child. It happened that the 2 rooms were next door, and they could be connected at that time. It also saved me from looking for connections to buy a school district house. This flat floor was also convenient. It happened that I was the owner of the house next door, so I took her to see it. Lu Chendong was shocked. This is not your house. Huizhi, Wang Huizhi hurriedly put on her coat, her face flushed with shame, and she suddenly reacted at this time. She looked at me accurately. It's you. You plotted against me. I took a deep breath, and my voice was shaking. What did I plot against you? I have cancer. And my husband doesn't care at all. He is still fooling around with you next door. My son and daughter-in-law think I don't need treatment because I'm old, so they want to change houses. I thought I couldn't help, so I contacted the landlord and said I wanted to look at the house for them first, but I didn't know that your house was rented. Sister Zhou, are you sick? Sister Wang did not do this kindly. Brother Lu is the same, it's right next door, and rabbits don't eat grass near their nests. There were a lot of discussions. Lu Chendong's face was blue and white. Don't say it, Huizhi. We are soulmates, let's get a divorce. What's wrong with renting a house? It's not like I haven't lived in a rented house before. As he said this, he took Wang Huizhi's hand. After the divorce, we will be together openly. At this age, happiness is the most important thing. This shameless look stunned everyone around. It's not Lao Lu, you are not kind. What about Sister Zhou? Yes, she has been doing housework for you all her life, and you just want a divorce. Sister Zhou, please don't divorce. Yes, we will exhaust him to death. If you don't divorce, Wang Huizhi, that bitch, will always be a mistress. Wang Huizhi was furious when he heard this. What are you talking about? Brother Lu and I are in true love, really in love. Laugh your teeth off. Such an old man, dressed up every day, entangled with this and that, who is as good as you, Wang Huizhi. The one who spoke was Wang Huizhi's old sister. Bullshit, I am not as bad as you say. After a disagreement, the old sisters started fighting. You tear my hair, I tear your skin. Lu Chendong was forced to take several hits in the middle, and they couldn't separate at all. Seeing this, I also rushed over. Lu Chendong, I will fight you. Are you worthy of me? Hey, old woman. Crazy woman. Lu Chendong's face was scratched by me without paying attention that I scratched with all my strength to vent my anger. Stop it. Until Lu Chendong suddenly grabbed my hand, panting, the house in the old city is yours, you can do whatever you want with it. He pushed me away and protected Wang Huizhi over there. There are only 3 houses in the family now. And the names of the son and daughter-in-law are them. It just so happens that the house in the old city is in your name. I don't want it even if we get divorced, I give it all to you. He said it with a generous look. What? Divorce? My son and daughter-in-law came back at the door. They quickly pushed the child into the door and squeezed in. The one who spoke was my daughter-in-law. She looked at me, then at Wang Huizhi and the other person standing together, and pretended to persuade me. Mom, Dad, you are living your own lives. Lu Chendong took over the conversation. Your mother and I are going to divorce. At this age, it doesn't matter who follows whom. When the time comes, my daughter-in-law will be happy. Since it is Dad's decision, we young people can't say anything. Because of the support of my daughter-in-law and the silence of my son, Lu Chendong felt that this proposal was good and wanted to divorce me immediately. That I am calm now. Of course I will not refuse. The news spread quickly in the community, and when we went downstairs, almost everyone in the community knew about it. The eyes around him made Lu Chendong blush. Wang Huizhi said quickly, Brother Lu, I'll wait for you. Invite a few elders to dinner in the evening. You can bring them over too. This is to directly win over the father and son and even the daughter-in-law. How shameless, that's right. Sister Zhou is so pitiful. I'm afraid she can only go back to the countryside. That I didn't expect Wang Huizhi to be such a person. She must let the old man at home stay away from her. The discussion of the people around drowned the scene. Wang Huizhi's face became more and more unnatural, and she hurried back upstairs. After coming out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, the divorce application had been submitted. As long as the 30-day cooling-off period is over, I will have no relationship with this family. That I packed my things, moved out of the community, and returned to the old city. There, Lu Chendong had happily moved in with Wang Huizhi. The landlord told me that Wang Huizhi had already given up the lease and the house was taken back. A stranger also comforted me and said, treat your illness well, use the family's medicine before the divorce, and live the rest of your life well after you are cured. He also said that if you need anything, just ask and I will help you if I can. My old man, I have 2 houses. One is the house in this old city, which is under my name, and the other is a small house that is rented out. Now that we are divorced, the property must be divided. I accepted Lu Chendong's proposal and took this house. The son didn't know that Wang Huizhi's house was not bought, so he came to talk to me alone. Mom, are you sure you want this house? That disease, his tangled expression told me that he didn't want to care about it, and didn't want to be gossiped about. Now the community is in an uproar. That I can take care of the disease myself. I just want this house. Mom, why are you doing this? The son didn't know what he was talking about. That I suddenly interrupted him. Your father still has a passbook, which he earned in his early years, and he has never taken it out. As soon as I said this, my son's face changed. Then buy a house at that time. That time, I even borrowed money to buy a house for my son, and I would pay it back after the gift money for my son's wedding came back. I suddenly laughed. I didn't expect that the money would be given to you. I don't know how long I will live, as long as I have this house to live in. Your father said that the money would be kept for our retirement, and we would eat and drink by ourselves, and you don't have to worry about it. Hearing this, the son believed it, because this is the old man's style. Dad is really, he has that money but he won't treat your illness. Mom, your illness. That I'm fine. The doctor said that only conservative treatment can be used. You can go back. Send the son away. That I remembered the physical examination at the hospital that day, when I had a full body examination. I didn't expect that there was another person with the same name and surname as me at the same time, and she had cancer. When I got the wrong report at that time, I felt that the sky had fallen. And I just felt that this was retribution. That I worked hard for the family all my life, and finally got seriously ill, and there were not many days left at it was all in vain, but after I spent 2 hours in the corridor of the hospital, I realized that I had taken the wrong report. The family had already printed a new report, and they didn't want that one. So I took the things back. I admit that I took out the report out of revenge when I saw the happy family and Wang Huizhi and her son, but the family's reaction made me realize the reality. For a month, I stayed at home and lived a good life. Until a month later, I saw Lu Qindong and Wang Huizhi again. They were really thick-skinned and appeared at the Civil Affairs Bureau hand in hand. We just got the divorce certificate here, and they got the certificate there. Sister Zhou, I heard that you are living in the old city now, right? You are alone. The two of them specially dressed up today, combed their hair neatly, and put on new clothes. They put on perfume. Lu Qindong doesn't need to cook or worry about anything. Since retirement, he has been dancing or playing chess. And he also puts on lipstick. And Wang Huizhi even puts on lipstick. The two of them really looked like they were getting married. On the other hand, my hands and skin were rough. I should live for myself too. After saying goodbye to the two of them, I went to the lottery redemption center and redeemed 50 million yuan to my new card. When I left, I met Wang Jun again. Wang Jun looked at me with a look of scrutiny. Aunt Zhou, it is you, the winner. I was carrying my bag, so I didn't need to pretend at this time, and simply nodded. Congratulations on your guess. But your stepfather and I have divorced. Wang Jun's face was livid. You set up a trap. The two bodyguards I hired beside me had already blocked his people. What set up a trap? Lu Qindong's voice came. Aren't they the two who just got the marriage certificate? I just realized that Wang Jun worked nearby, and the two came to see their son. Lu Qindong looked at the two bodyguards beside me in disbelief. This is... And then I heard Wang Jun couldn't wait to speak. Aunt Zhou won 50 million yuan and just received the prize. Hearing this number, the two people over there couldn't walk with greed on their faces. Lu Qindong pushed Wang Huizhi away. 50 million. Old woman, is it true? I looked at his greedy look and felt sick. What does it have to do with you whether it's true or not? We have divorced. My son has already grown up, and I don't need to take care of him at all. You did it on purpose. Lu Qindong reacted. Sister Zhou. Wang Huizhi also came over. I looked at the two of them and laughed a little. Have you forgotten? I got seriously ill, and now I'm here again. Yes, you are sick. You see, you need someone to take care of you. I will take care of you. We have been married for so many years. Lu Qindong didn't hesitate at all. Wang Huizhi looked very unhappy. Brother Lu, you, get out. Lu Qindong's eyes were red. Old woman, I was confused for a moment. Let's get remarried. He was decisive and spoke directly without caring about Wang Huizhi's emotions. Wang Jun couldn't listen to this anymore. Uncle Lu, you said you would treat my mother well. Is that right? Your mother and I were having an affair, and we both agreed. I have been with this shameless man for most of my life. I looked at the livid faces of Wang Huizhi and her son, and I didn't find it funny, but sad. I looked at Lu Qindong and said, then go and get a divorce. Lu Qindong felt hopeful when he heard this, and immediately wanted to take Wang Huizhi to get a divorce. Wang Huizhi didn't want to go, and a group of people dragged on and made a scene. Later, Wang Huizhi got angry, and Wang Jun got angry too, and the three of them started fighting. Lu Qindong's appearance was no match for the young and strong Wang Jun. After a while, his nose was swollen, his eyes couldn't open, and his nose was bleeding, so he was taken to the hospital. After this farce, I went to the beauty salon, had a comfortable full-body beauty treatment, bought new clothes, and went to the hotel. When I woke up, I found that my son had sent me many text messages and called me many times. The text message said that Lu Qindong's condition was very bad after the examination. He was in the middle stage of cancer and was about to turn into the late stage. He also sent me the report. Then he euphemistically said that we were a family and hoped that I would give him money to treat his illness. That he also said that Wang Jun's family had deceived them, saying that Wang Jun was just a waiter in a convenience store, and his family had no savings. The house next door was rented. There were a lot of dense text messages. Finally, he said that I would always be his mother and only recognize me. How funny, this is human nature that I did not go back to the old city. I transferred the house to a niece from my mother's side and bought a plane ticket to leave the city that I chose to go to a small town in the south and bought a yard to live in that I donated most of the money, leaving only enough for living expenses that I and the remote town. A year had passed before I heard from the family again that it was a young man who rented a house. He was a colleague of my son. When he was talking, he talked about my son's family. It is said that the father of that weird colleague chased away his original wife and remarried a stepmother. The stepmother had nothing and refused to divorce. It is said that the biological mother of that weird colleague won the lottery and disappeared. The whole family was looking for her. It is said that the biological father had cancer and could only use the money for buying a house to treat the disease, but in the end, he was not cured and lost both his money and his life. Now I have to support the stepmother and her son. The stepmother and her son are lazy and can't be chased away or beaten. Life is hard. I am indifferent at this time, except for the incident of looking for the landlord. I have never taken the initiative to retaliate. I am old and began to believe in karma. I just need to live a good life and the breeze will come naturally. This article is over. Next, let's start the second story. On the 40th anniversary of our marriage, my husband set up 100 tables and invited many people to witness our love. I should be happy, with children and grandchildren, sharing family happiness, and a husband who loves me as always. But someone sent me an old photo that day. The woman in the photo looks 70 like me when I was young, but on the back it says my wife Yao Yao. I will never let you down in this life. The handwriting is my husband's. It turns out that I have been a stand-in for 40 years. If I hadn't seen that photo and Shen Yu's diary, I would probably find it hard to doubt the husband in front of me who almost had a car accident to buy my favorite bean paste buns. There were children laughing and talking in my ears, and Shen Yu's students also came. They sat together and talked about the love story between Shen Yu and me. Don't bother so much next time. Just ask Sunner to buy it. Be good to your life. I opened the bean paste bag and took a bite. Bitter, obviously. The bean paste of this store is the most delicate and sweet. I resisted the emotional breakdown and took the family photo with Shen Yu and his friends. He grabbed my hand and whispered in my ear that he wanted to celebrate the golden wedding anniversary with me. Shen Yu never called me by my name, he only called me madam. I looked at the pair of old cufflinks on his cuffs and asked my daughter-in-law to bring a new pair. Don't bother so much. I'm used to this pair of pine and crane cufflinks. And I'm not used to changing to new ones. Shen Yu said, thank you madam for your kindness, but his words pierced my heart like fine needles. I saw in my diary that this pair of pine and crane cufflinks was given by his white moonlight Lin Yao. On Shen Yu's 18th birthday, he has kept it ever since. She gives Shen Yu a gift every year, which he locks in a safe. Before coming here, I opened the safe, and the password is Lin Yao's birthday. There is a stack of photos inside, which they take in front of the courtyard every year. There is also a diary next to it, which records Lin Yao's preferences word by word. She likes sunsets but not sunrises, because she is too sleepy to get up. She likes snowy days and is afraid of heat. She loves cherries, so she planted a cherry tree in front of our cabin. I still didn't finish the bean paste bun and put it on the plate. Shen Yu saw that I was in a low mood, and he asked me what was wrong. He didn't dislike it, and took the half-eaten bean paste bun and put it in his mouth. I still can't believe that this man who dotes on me like his life and almost died for me has a home outside. The taste hasn't changed, it's delicious. Are you feeling uncomfortable? Still have a poor appetite? I'll get you some tea to relieve the greasiness. Shen Yu's eyes were full of worry. I shook my head and said I was a little tired and wanted to go home early. I am almost 70 years old, with white hair and wrinkled skin. I am old and ugly. If I ask for a divorce at this time, they will definitely think I am crazy, but I can't stand being deceived. I can't stand being that woman's substitute for decades. The weather has been cold recently. According to the weather forecast, it will snow soon. I will go to Lincheng this weekend to meet an old friend. My eyes were moist all of a sudden. It will snow soon. He is going to accompany Lin Yao to witness the first snow in Lincheng, right? But you promised me that you would accompany me to burn incense on the weekend. Shen Yu's face changed slightly. He said that it has been raining recently. The road to Baiyun Mountain is very slippery and difficult to climb. He was afraid that I might fall. He also said that it was too cold outside. What if I got frostbite again? He does everything for me and cares about me. In the past, I would have been very touched and obedient. Can we not go to Lincheng? I looked at Shen Yu. This was probably the first time I stopped him. He was a little stunned that I used to trust him very much and never doubted his love for me, but now I know that I am just a poor substitute. How could he agree to me when he has to go to fulfill his promise with the original owner? I will accompany you to burn incense when I come back from Lincheng. Okay, Shen Yu said that we can burn incense at any time. My beating heart suddenly settled down. I opened my mouth and said calmly, Shen Yu, let's get a divorce, outside the door. My son came in with his daughter-in-law and was about to tell me that my granddaughter was going back to China. Hearing what I said, my son Shen Lu looked at me incredulously. Just because Dad didn't accompany you to worship Buddha on the weekend, you want to get a divorce? Mom, you are not young anymore. You are almost 70 years old. Why are you still so willful? Do you really think of yourself as a little princess? Don't talk to your mother like that. Apologize. Shen Yu had a gloomy face and angrily accused Shen Lu of being too rude. I felt very uncomfortable in my heart. As if I had a rabbit in my arms. Let's part ways amicably. I'll ask the lawyer to come and draft an agreement later. Mom. Dad is so good to you. If you leave him at your age, to put it bluntly, you will be alone and no one will collect your body wherever you die. Snapped. I raised my hand and slapped her, and I was so angry that my heart hurt. I didn't want to tell the story of Shen Yu and his white moonlight. I took out the stack of photos from my bag and threw them at the father and son. Your dad has a family outside, I'm helping him, isn't that enough? I cried. Tears soaking my eyes. I didn't want to lose my composure like this. My daughter-in-law hurried to get a tissue and handed it to me. She whispered to comfort me, Mom, don't be too excited, it's not worth getting hurt because of such a thing. I panted and said, I have been married to you for 40 years. It seems that we are in love, but in fact, it is just you who is carving me, and you are carving me as your Yao Yao. I am just a substitute for her, because she went abroad to pursue her dream without hesitation, and you agreed to marry me to irritate her. Mom. Stop talking. My daughter-in-law patted my back, and her voice was choked. I am not that fragile. Even if my heart hurts a lot, I will not be angry to death here. It is not me who cheated, and it is not me who betrayed this marriage. Shen Yu's face sank, he squatted down, and picked up each photo neatly. Just a face. Did you touch my safe? Do you not trust me so much? There is nothing between Lin Yao and me, we are just ordinary friends. Seeing Shen Yu, I said that I was too suspicious. If there was anything, we would have been married a long time ago. And we would not have wasted our time with you. 40 years. Not long or short. I don't have a tendency to self-abuse. I have been guarding a person I don't like for 40 years. I smiled and looked at Shen Yu. Then please tell me, what is my name, Shen Yu? He hesitated for a moment and said a few words with great difficulty. It was not subconscious, but he thought about it for a long time. After we got married, he never called me by my name again. He is a university professor, a big shot in the academic world, and he has a lot of style. So he never called me his wife. Song Yuan. It's hard for you to forget that you don't have to catch someone in bed to cheat. I don't want to argue with Shen Yu about this boring thing. My son rushed forward, and he was very excited. Just because of this little thing, you want a divorce, right? Who doesn't have a few good friends? Mom, just think of it as for this family, don't make a fuss. Okay, Nuanyuan will return to China immediately, let her see her grandparents still in divorce lawsuits at such an old age. And people will laugh to death when they tell others about it. Nuanyuan is not as feudal as you. I said coldly that I moved out of this house, and there are traces of Lin Yao in every corner. The room is her favorite color, and the sofa is also her favorite. Even the pillows on top were Lin Yao's favorites. My wedding dress, jewelry, and the ring Shen Yu put on me when we swore an oath that I took off my wedding ring. Shen Yu wanted to argue, but I looked at him steadily. With the wealth of the Shen family, they wouldn't give me a ring that doesn't fit, that it's too big and often falls off my finger. I looked at Shen Yu indifferently. He didn't say anything else, asked his daughter-in-law to take me home, and told us to be careful on the road and take good care of me. On the way back in the car, my daughter-in-law said softly, "Mom, cry if you want to. Emotional suppression is not good for your health. It's just a divorce. It's not a big deal." "Huang Qing, can you stop adding fuel to the fire?" my son said. His brain was about to explode. And he didn't understand why his daughter-in-law would stand on my side. That he said that everyone praised his parents' love, so why did Huang Qing support the divorce? That it's just a little romantic debt when I was young. Besides, Dad met Aunt Yao Yao first. They are all men who make mistakes. Mom, you are not young anymore. If you turn a blind eye, your life will pass. That I leaned there, and my mind was full of Shen Yu's kindness to me, but when I thought of those, I felt even more uncomfortable. Is it because I look like Lin Yao that he treats me well? I stole something that originally belonged to Lin Li like a thief. I don't want to be confused, and I don't want to have anything to do with Shen Yu anymore. Even if I am about to die now, I don't want to be buried with Shen Yu. The word Shen Yu is not allowed to appear on my tombstone. Don't interfere in Mom's affairs, okay? When I got home, my daughter-in-law and son had a quarrel. My daughter-in-law supported me and said that no matter how old you are, you have the right to pursue freedom. If this relationship binds me, then throw it away. My son was so angry that his eyes turned red. He wiped his fists tightly and his emotions were almost out of control. I was afraid that he would attack my daughter-in-law, but he still held back. This weekend, Shen Yu did not go to Lincheng. He came to see me several times, but he did not sign the divorce agreement. Yuan, how about not getting a divorce? Is Professor Shen afraid of affecting his reputation? I said that we should part ways in peace. I would not tell anyone. I don't want to waste energy on these things anymore. His emotions broke down for a time and said that he would not divorce anyway. He said that he would not sign unless he died. Outside the door, my daughter-in-law knocked on the door and cried aggrievedly. With red eyes, she said, "Mom, I want to divorce Shen Lu. Do you want a divorce too?" Shen Yu rubbed his eyebrows with a headache. "Can you not make a fuss at this time? Your mother is the same, and you are the same. What did Shen Lu do to you?" My daughter-in-law sat next to me, hesitant to speak, and Shen Yu kept forcing her. She couldn't help it. The aunt you kept outside came to see Shen Lu and asked why you didn't keep the appointment. She came to give you a gift in person. She also wanted to see Mom, but I stopped her. Shen Lu said I was ignorant. The daughter-in-law looked at Shen Yu coldly and took out a longevity lock from her hand and gave it to him. Lin Yao said that she had a nightmare again and thought of your baby. In the 8th year of your marriage to Mom. She miscarried a child. That I held back the churning in my stomach and handed over the other divorce agreement in a dull manner. Stop talking, sign it. Give me the 2 houses under your name. I don't want the car. The property is 80-20, 80 for me and 20 for you. If you don't sign, I will let them all see your true face as Professor Shen, and I will let the world sing praises of your love with Lin Yao. Enough. I signed. The knife that stabbed me in the end was actually the aborted child. That I still remember that day. Shen Lu was sick with a high fever and the situation was very dangerous. I called Shen Yu many times, but he didn't answer the phone. That night, he was not by my side. I thought he was busy with his career, the hospital, but I didn't expect that he was with Lin Yao. During that time, Shen Yu was in a very low mood. It was almost a widowed marriage that I took my son to. It turned out that it was because Lin Yao had a miscarriage. Later, Shen Yu admitted his mistakes to me, saying that he had neglected me and didn't care about me enough. He compensated me a lot and took a special leave to accompany me for a long time. Only then did I forgive him. Now I think about it, I am a clown. Mom, if I divorce Shen Lu, will you support me? Silly child. As long as it is your decision, I support it. My situation with Shen Yu is too special. I have thought about it before. We are old, so we should just make do with it, but now every time I close my eyes, I can't forget those photos. They are lingering, like a shadow. It keeps floating in my mind. Huang Qing said she would think it over, but she wanted to think about it again. After all, Shen Lu was just stubborn and muddy. He didn't do anything excessive. For a period of time after that, Huang Qing stayed with me, and she also booked a concert ticket for me. It's hard to grab it. I saw it in Mom's previous circle of friends. You like this song Contentment very much, right? Yes. Will you accompany me to see it? I am very happy. I wanted Shen Yu to accompany me before, but he was always busy. Busy with school affairs and Shen's family affairs. Their family is a scholarly family with high barriers to entry. I don't have a high level of education, so his parents don't like me and always say that I am the daughter of a nouveau riche, that I don't have the scent of a scholar and I can't read at first glance. They like Lin Yao very much and say that she is full of poetry and books and that people with culture look different. After I gave birth to Shen Lu, it was better. They would occasionally invite me to dinner, but they would not invite me to the parties in that circle. Fearing that I would lose face for the Shen family, later, when Shen Lu grew up, they didn't allow me to intervene in the issue of education. They were afraid that I would teach Shen Lu bad things and said that I didn't understand those things. Shen Yu coaxed me for a long time and bought me a lot of things. He said, "Madam, don't be angry, do whatever you want, don't worry about the children's schooling, it's also good, so you won't get old quickly." At that time, I was coaxed by Shen Yu, and occasionally I would watch Shen Lu study, but I never interrupted. I also booked tickets and asked someone to grab concert tickets, but Shen Lu said that I was not doing my job properly at my age. I was 48 years old at that time. Shen Lu said that even if he wanted to go, he would go with young people. It would be too embarrassing to go with me. He said that those were the trends that young people were chasing. I accepted Huang Qing's ticket and was looking forward to that day. When Huang Qing came to pick me up, Shen Lu also came. He pulled Huang Qing aside aggressively. "How old is Mom? Can you stand that kind of music? What if my heart gets sick? Will you be responsible?" "Yes, I will be responsible." Huang Qing was very emotional. "Mom asked you so many times, who of you really cared about her feelings?" Huang Qing said that she had decided to take me there today. "It's not like I will die after watching a concert. That was my dream. I was well raised and cared for by Shen Yu, but he didn't know what I liked and what I had done. I became Shen Yu's wife in a daze, but now looking back, we are not in sync at all." "Mom, why do you have to follow this trend? Did you sneak a peek at Aunt Lin Yao's short video? Do you want to follow the trend too?" Shen Lu said his head hurts. Not long ago, Lin Yao updated a short video when she went to a music festival. The comments below were all praise for her, saying that her mentality was not bound by her age. "You always say that Dad treats you as a substitute, but you are just a smart person." Slap. Huang Qing slapped her, her eyes red. "Shut up, how can you say that to your mother? If you really like Lin Yao so much, just let her be your mother." "What nonsense are you talking about? I am also thinking about my mother's health. Can you please stop interfering?" Shen Lu and Huang Qing quarreled fiercely, and I shouted, "Don't bother me anymore." "Shen Lu, you are right, I may not live long, I just want to do something I like. Is it not okay?" Shen Lu's face changed. "Mom, I don't mean that, I didn't curse you." "Okay, I'll go with Qing Qing, I know my limits." Shen Lu sighed heavily. He said he had no control over us, and he left in a rage to find Shen Yu. But it was useless. After entering the concert hall, I blocked Shen Yu's phone number. I took a lot of videos and kept them in my phone as a souvenir. I listened to the song Contentment and burst into tears. That was my favorite song when I was young. At that time, I fell in love with Shen Yu's smile. I secretly hid my love for him and had a crush on him for many years. I would sneak a peek at him playing on the playground, and I would also sign up for the same elective courses as him. I sat far away, but my eyes were all on him. That was my youth. And I have no regrets. But this marriage was a complete deception. I realized that Shen Yu married me to anger Lin Yao, and that grand wedding was just a part of their play. The past few decades have been chasing me like filth. Now, I am finally free. Huang Qing printed a mayday on my face and brought me some cheering items. The girls around me didn't look at me strangely, and even took photos with me and posted them online. They were all so beautiful that we sang together and ended the excitement together in the noise. When I got home, I saw Shenyu that I forgot to change my password. I was careless that I s your body, okay? My face changed completely. I am living well. Are you unhappy? Do you have to hope that I will get sick, or do you want me to die early? I didn't mean that. Yuan. Don't call me so intimately. Just call me Song Yuan, and please leave. You are not welcome here. That I scolded. I don't want to have any traces of Shenyu in the future. That I've had enough of this man. That he handed me the red invitation in his hand. That I'm getting married. Congratulations. And then get out with your invitation. Shenyu asked if he could give Yao a chance. She wanted to see me and explain what happened in the past. Shenyu said that he really didn't betray me. If I had as thick skin as Shenyu, I should be able to become a god. That I picked up my phone to inform the security room that Shenyu was kicked out. The security guard was also puzzled. Isn't that Professor Shen? Did the couple quarrel? We are divorced. Don't let him in the future. I said softly. I'm going to burn incense for my best friend. She has been gone for 40 years. She died of illness. At that time, she cried and stopped me from marrying Shenyu. She said that although Shenyu treated me well on the surface, she felt that Shenyu didn't love me that much, like a perfect fake person. Now it's good. It turns out that she is the smartest. That I asked someone to burn a paper villa, a sports car, and a number of handsome men for my best friend. I brought her favorite yellow roses in front of her grave. Congratulations. You guessed it right. Shenyu and Lin Yao have never broken up. That I hope you can laugh less when I go down. That in a few days, I will leave this place, and burn 1 year's worth for you at a time. As I was talking, tears started to fall. Over the years, people around me left one by one, my friends, my elders, all gone. Shenlu was right, leaving Shenyu, I really became a lonely person. But I don't regret it. That I didn't expect that I could see Lin Yao again. That a woman who I didn't meet in the first half of my life, but shared a man with me. That I had seen the photos in Shenlu's circle of friends before. The wedding photos of Shenyu and Lin Yao, Chinese style, very beautiful. They say that you can't wear red for a second marriage, but Shenyu said that he is not so feudal, and Yao looks better in red. Of course, he wrote it when he was young. My wife Yao, I will not let her down in this life. Of course, he didn't want to wrong her, and he would definitely let her wear formal red. Can we have a cup of coffee together? Song Yuan. No. I'm too busy to care about you. I refused. Lin Yao was stunned for a moment and asked me, what are you busy with? You took away most of Shenyu's wealth. You are now a free rich woman. You don't even have time to drink a cup of coffee. This person is really annoying. It's not that she doesn't have time to drink coffee, but she doesn't want to accompany her to drink coffee. Don't you understand this? Besides, the 2 houses were originally given to me by my parents. I have been living a luxurious life since I was a child. Although my academic performance is not so good, my family is not bad. She kept saying that I became a rich woman thanks to Shenyu, which is simply funny. I don't want to argue with her, just like I don't like to dress up when I am old, but Lin Yao in front of me is still wearing heavy makeup. Wearing cheongsam and high heels, her exquisite image is also very popular on the internet. Are you so afraid to face me? Knowing that you are my substitute, it must be sad. Get out of the way. I said coldly, no matter what she came here for. It doesn't matter if she wants to show off. I have had enough of the past few decades. I just want to tell you that I never thought of interfering in your marriage, but love is a metaphysics. You know, when I came back, I made up my mind and told myself that I would never see Shenyu again, but God was playing tricks on me. She said that her family went bankrupt at that time and was chased by creditors, so she had no way to sell wine. The first customer was Shenyu, Professor Shen, who was as gentle as the wind and moon. Would also appear in such a place. I was surprised that he gave me some money. Lin Yao said that Shen Yu was her salvation. And no matter how much two people in love have experienced, they will always meet again. So you want to tell me about the touching love between you? No, I just tell you that you should let it go. I don't want you to be obsessed. That I smiled, looked at Lin Yao, and suddenly remembered something. You reminded me that when I married Shen Yu, he used our common property. I would ask him to return some things that I turned to leave. But Lin Yao was no longer elegant. She shouted that I was hopeless, just like falling into the eyes of money. Why don't you want it? That thing that originally belonged to me, why should I give it to her cheaply? That I have been with Shen Yu for so many years. I have endured the daily necessities and the difficulties of my parents-in-law. As for her, she is free and easy. She can live a beautiful life like a fairy. I consulted a lawyer and sent a message to Shen Yu. He loves face, doesn't want his reputation to be ruined. And doesn't want to be stabbed in the back. So, Shen Yu will settle the money for me. When I was learning flower arrangement, Shen Lu suddenly rushed in angrily. Mom, I have something to ask you. What? Come out with me. Shen Lu dragged me out. He was very angry, and asked me why I was killing him. Yes, Dad is sorry for you, but you said that we should part ways amicably. Why do you still ask Dad for money? Do you know that Dad and Auntie quarreled over your matter? That is your grandparents' money. And, you have no right to point fingers at me. Everything I do is based on the law. Shen Lu said I was unreasonable. No wonder I couldn't warm Shen Yu's heart in the past 40 years. That he said I deserved it. This kind of bad temper, only Shen Yu could tolerate it. That I ignored him. After all, I wanted to learn flower arrangement well. I was happy. And I also signed up for calligraphy class, although my hand holding the pen was shaking. But I just like to see them write. They write beautifully. The day my granddaughter Nuanyuan returned to China, she called me and asked Huang Qing to pick me up. She said she missed me very much. When Huang Qing picked me up at their house, I brought a bunch of Nuanyuan's favorite hydrangeas, which bloomed in my yard. Grandma, I love you so much. You know I like this flower the most, and I have also seen the endless summer in your yard. That I will stay at your place tonight. Nuanyuan hugged me. I only saw Lin Yao sitting next to Shen Yu, and Shen Yu stood up excitedly. Why did you bring flowers here? Yao Yao is allergic to pollen. That I frowned. Let her go back. Then, Mom. Shen Lu came over. Don't make trouble, don't quarrel. You are old. The gift from Grandma, Grandpa. Don't be hegemonic at home. Grandma is already very open-minded and agrees that you marry a mistress. Before Nuanyuan could finish her words, she was pulled aside by Shen Lu. How can you be so rude? Aunt Lin Yao is your grandma now. She is your grandpa's wife. She received foreign education. How can she be so old-fashioned? Shen Lu asked Nuanyuan to apologize to that woman. Seeing that a war was about to start, I took the initiative to get up and leave. Nuanyuan said that she wanted to go home with me to sleep, but was stopped by Shen Lu. He said that Nuanyuan was rude. It was the first night to meet the new grandma. She had to finish her meal before going. Just let your mother take you there after dinner. That I can go wherever I want. I just want to accompany my grandma. Pepe said that she didn't want to pretend that nothing happened. She was nauseous and couldn't eat anything. Nuanyuan said that grandma was too pitiful, and she wanted to accompany her grandma. My little cotton padded jacket, so thoughtful. You don't want grandma, I want grandma. Good child, come after you are full. Grandma will wait for you. I touched Nuanyuan's head. I didn't want Shen Yu to get entangled with this matter. After living together for so many years, I still know Shen Yu very well. Listen to grandma, okay? After I left, I found a shop I like and had a hot pot for one. That I in the past, when I wanted to eat out, Shen Yu always said it was unhealthy. That I was full, and when I went home, I happened to meet Nuanyuan. I cleaned up the room for her and bought her favorite xiaoba. The whole room was full of them, and there was also Nuanyuan's favorite bicycle, which I also ordered for her. Grandma, you are the best. Nuanyuan squatted in the yard and asked me to take a picture of her. She was a sensible child and did not mention anything about Lin Yao in front of me. She hesitated several times, but still did not tell me about that family. A few days later, when Nuanyuan came to see me, her eyes were red. I couldn't help but ask her what happened. Mom went back to her parents' home and hasn't been back for many days. She had a big fight with Dad, and Grandpa said that he couldn't tell her and told you what happened. One cried and threw herself into my arms. Dad slapped Mom because of that. My heart skipped a beat. I thought Shenlu might be stubborn and chauvinistic, but I never thought that Shenlu would hit Huang Qing. Grandma said she wanted a divorce, but Dad refused to sign. They have been talking about this for the past few days. That I called Huang Qing and said sorry to her. After all, I gave birth to him and I didn't teach Shenlu well. My eyes were filled with tears. You asked me before whether I supported your divorce. This time, I told you clearly that I supported it. Mom. Huang Qing broke down and cried. She said she didn't expect it. I just thought we had different opinions and different values, but I didn't expect him to hit me, and in front of Huang Qing said she couldn't stand it. Her heart was so painful. She loved Shenlu very much, but she didn't want to continue. Okay. After that, Shenlu begged to come to the door, but Huang's parents didn't even open the door for him. He even knelt down for him, but it was useless. The damage had been done. What's the use of regretting? During this period, I took Nuan to several comic exhibitions. I also took her to the ancient city to experience the changes of 5,000 years of history. She was sent abroad by Shenlu when she was very young, and I wanted her to understand the charm of the ancestors. That I took her to Luoyang and took her to see the Red Mansion of Ballet. During that time, a lot of things happened in Shenyu's family. Shenyu went to attend the wedding of an old friend's child, and the guest list was wrong, and my name was written. Lin Yao was very angry on the spot. And a group of people couldn't coax her. I don't know who posted it on the internet. They jokingly called Lin Yao the old princess, and Shenyu was also exposed. They said that Lin Yao had been the third child all her life. The comment area was overwhelmed. Shenyu called me and said that Yao Yao was in a low mood recently and Yao Yao had suffered from depression before. Nuanyuan snatched the phone from my hand. So what? You hurt Grandma recklessly. Now do you want Grandma to come out and clarify that she actually divorced you a long time ago? Don't bully me too much, otherwise I will spend money to find a blogger to expose it. Nuanyuan said she was very angry. It was obvious that Grandma had stopped interfering in your affairs, so why didn't she let her go free? I didn't mean that. Shenyu sighed. After all, I am your grandpa. Nuanyuan said she was a polite child, and Shenyu forced her to do so. That I want to talk to you calmly. Grandpa, you have deceived Grandma for so many years, and you have a baby. Your love needs green leaves to complement you, and Grandma is that poor green leaf. Just think of it as a pity. Grandpa, don't bother the nanny anymore. Otherwise I will be rude. After Nuanyuan finished speaking, she blocked all of Shenyu's contact information, and she also asked me not to be angry. That I'm not angry. I don't care. Here. That I took out a box and handed it to Yen Pei. What is it? A necklace for me? No, it's for your mother. Tomorrow is your mother's birthday. That I ordered this pink diamond necklace before, hoping Huang Qing will like it. Nuan pouted and said coquettishly, Nuan likes it too. When will Grandma buy me one? Open it and take a look. That I smiled. It's a mother-daughter style. One long and one short. After accepting Grandma's gift, don't get involved in your grandpa's family affairs in the future. Be good. Okay. Nuan will be obedient. There is no need to distract me with those trivial things. We played for a long time, and when we went back, it was Huang Qing's birthday. When I arrived, some people were talking about it. That I thought Professor Shen loved her so much, but it turned out that men are like this, keeping a mistress outside. Alas, it was the 40th anniversary not long ago, so many tables were set up, and then she got married for the second time. You men. That I didn't mind these, and walked over to talk to Huang Qing. Huang Qing said to me with red eyes, Mom, there is something I want to confess to you. What's wrong? Look serious. That I smiled and praised their good banquet. When I celebrate my 70th birthday, I will also find this restaurant. The food is delicious. I like it. In fact, I sent you that photo. Huang Qing confessed that I didn't expect things to develop to this point, and I didn't want to cause you trouble because of the fermentation of public opinion on the internet, and the fact that the matter has become a big deal. There are many people pointing fingers at me. I smiled and shook my head. It's not your problem, it's their high-profile wedding, which has never been avoided. Now people are pointing their noses and scolding the third child. I can't stand it, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt to scold me a few times. I won't be depressed, and I have never done anything wrong. Nguyen is going abroad in a few days. After sending her there, I plan to stay in Lincheng for a few days. Lincheng is my hometown, where I lived when I was a child. I have an old house in the town, which has now been developed into a tourist area. My old house has also been rented out as a homestay. I want to stay there for a while. After all, that place, a water town in the south of the Yangtze River, is particularly beautiful. It snows in winter, and the snow falls on the boat, and it is beautiful to stand on the bridge and watch. I will go with you. It is good to have someone to accompany you. It is okay, I am in good health, I can go alone. Wang Qing opened her heart to me. I should thank her. She said that in the first few nights. She was also thinking about whether to tell me. She was shocked when she saw the photo. There was also a letter behind. Wang Qing said she didn't want me to be deceived too badly. I returned to Lincheng. I saw the small house by accident, which was bought by Shen Yu for Lin Yao, but it was premarital property, which was a pity. Upstairs in my homestay, you can see the small yard. The cherry tree is not growing well. The water and soil in this place are not suitable for cherry growth. In short, there are few fruits. I saw the swing in the yard, and there were weeds growing inside. It can be seen that no one has been here for a long time. The Shen family was in a mess. Shen Yu twisted his waist while picking cherries for Lin Yao and was sent to the hospital for rest. He fell off the ladder while picking persimmons for Lin Yao. Lin Yao said that the fruits picked by Shen Yu himself were the sweetest. But she never seemed to care about Shen Yu's age. He was already very old. My son called me several times and said that Shen Yu wanted to see me. Dad has always felt guilty about you. He said he was afraid that he could not hold on and wanted to see you for the last time. No, if Dad really can't hold on, this will be the last time. If you don't see him, you will regret it for the rest of your life. Shen Lu was very anxious. He said, let me fulfill Shen Yu's wish. I wanted to laugh. I really saw enough of that face in the past few decades. I don't want to see it again. I hung up the phone and didn't answer it afterwards. I took a group of photos here and posted them on WeChat Moments. Many people liked them. Shen Yu also ordered it, but it didn't seem to matter, and then he cancelled it. I don't want to know how they are doing. I only know that I am very free now. I am not bound in the cage of the substitute. And I don't need to be trimmed to the way he likes according to his will. I am just me, a person who doesn't like to go to school, but especially likes to go out and play. A person who doesn't like to eat cherries, but is forced to accompany Shen Yu to plant a cherry orchard. If you ask me if I have resentment as a person who has been a substitute for decades, I definitely have resentment. But if I use the rest of my time to hate them, I will build another cage for myself. Autumn has gone and winter has come. And it snowed in Lincheng. Huang Qing brought her best friend to see me and brought me a scarf knitted by Nguyen herself. Huang Qing's best friend mentioned that a little boy has been chasing Huang Qing recently. Ahem. Huang Qing pushed her, her cheeks slightly red. Don't talk nonsense. It's not true. I sat there drinking tea, listening to them talking and laughing, telling their own stories, and the lady boss downstairs also sent some food. The atmosphere of the BB here is very good. I often sit here and listen to other people's stories. People coming and going. Everyone has their own unique brilliance. When you get married, you must invite us to the wedding wine. Wang Qing's bestie smiled and said, they were playing together. There is no trace of time, it seems like returning to the past.